Matt Clark here at the new Matt Clark. How are each and every one of you doing on this amazing Thursday? I'm doing great. My girl's doing great. My family's doing great. I hope each and every one of you are doing great, even though right now times, let's be honest, they're just not great. We're not really being told what's going on. It's hectic. The streets are wild. If you could please hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that bell notification button so you get all my videos when they're new. You could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word. That would be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. Link is in the description of all of my videos. So today we have Joe from If They Only Knew.
No. Actually, it's Lyte. It's Lyte.
Joe's
my co-host.
Okay, sorry. Today we have Lyte from If They Only Knew. And from what I hear, you have a very interesting story, lots of time in Rikers Island, which we'd love to hear about. And, I just like the idea of the channel. I know you guys are promoting positivity. So if you can kind of just introduce yourself, break down a little bit of your backstory and kind of tell everybody a little about you.
Yeah. So for the viewers, my name is Lyte on the Hill, co-host of If They Only Knew show. We pretty much kind of do the same content. We do music. We talk about mental health. I mean, you name it, we talk about it. So, we're up and coming YouTube channel. So, we're trying to put ourselves out there. You know what I mean? As for myself, I'm from NY, New York. You know what I'm saying? Born and raised, in my mid 40s. You know what I'm saying? Kind of a family man now. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely got a story though.
All right. So from what I hear, you did a lot of time in Rikers Island.
Yes.
And from what I hear, that is the most violent detention center in the USA. That's not like a prison. So could you kind of just tell us what it's like living in Rikers?
Boy, oh boy. You need to turn into almost like an animal, man. Just because of the way things are in there. Like for myself, I probably lost more confrontations than I actually won. I mean, I was in jail in the 90s, man. So it's pretty rough on the island at that time. That's when like a lot of the gangs, like Latin Kings, the Bloods, they was kind of new to New York. So there was a little bit, they didn't have no organization because, they were still new. So it was out of control. And in turn, when these gangs formed, it kind of oppressed the neutrons, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, like kind of pick on them or, have them sleeping on Broadway or not letting them use the phone. Like, so like when I was in jail, the phones is free. So that means you can pick up, it's like a house-to-house call. And you call them, dudes might have like 8 to 8:30, 8:30 to 9. So usually the person that runs that house runs both phones. So there's usually like a black phone and a Spanish phone, majority of the time, unless it's like a straight like Latin King house or something in that nature, something in that nature. And that person usually will have both phones from 10 to 11, meaning that they'll be on one phone, the other phone be hanging. And if they choose to let their homies on it, that's what they do. So I give a little quick story about what happened to me with that. So back, I want to say 92, my first time on the island. And I went there for a robbery. It is what it is, man. I used to be a secular kid, I used to hustle, and I was dipping and dabbing and everything, man. So I got locked up and I actually went to the island. So I was in reception, whatever the case may be. So like 2 days or a day before I went to court, they shipped me out of the reception to the SMART. So during this time, this was, like I said, gangs wasn't really like forming like that. In 92, they was there, but not like that. It was mostly a borough thing. So like in New York, we got the Bronx, Harlem, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, Long Island. But mostly Rikers Island would kind of consist of mostly Bronx, Brooklyn, Harlem, and Queens. So at this time, it was a borough war, like a borough war. So I'm from the Bronx, and they sent me over to a Brooklyn side. Why would they do that for? knowing that it's a Bronx and Brooklyn was going at it heavy. So they sent me there, right? So I get into the to the dorm, and I see that there's a bed in the middle row that's vacant. I'm thinking, I don't know, like I didn't know that was the punk bed. I just thought it was a bed of mine, so I put my stuff on there. So I put my stuff on there, and then I see the phone, and I see the phone hanging. So I'm like, oh, I gotta call my mom's and shit. So I didn't know anything about no phone time and anything like that. So I picked up the phone. I'm calling my mom's. So dude come out the bathroom like, yo, fam, fuck you on my time for? I don't know what he means. Time. I'm like, time. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, yo, I'm on the phone. I'll be off in a second. I didn't know what he was talking about. He hung up the phone on me. I'm like, yo, fam, fucking hung the phone to me for. So like, I was scared to death because, mind you, it's my first time on that island. So I don't know what to expect. So I don't even think I've hit him that hard. I just try to like get him off of me. Man, why I do that, man? Yo, it was about 15 dudes jumped up, right? So we're about like the bubble pounding me out. So the police knew that they was pounding me out because my head is hitting the glass. That's what alerted the police that they was whipping my ass. So police comes in, I'm beat the fuck up. Yo, I'm all lumped up, bloody nose. Yo, I'm fucked up. Like they beat the shit out of me. So they takes me to Bellevue. And that's where they usually take anybody that's cut, anybody that got assaulted real bad.
Like medical.
Yeah, it's like a medical unit, you know what I mean? But it's outside of Rikers Island, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I went to court from there, and I ended up getting let go because the witness, they didn't come to court. So usually you supposed to, when you're supposed to get indicted in order for you to stay any longer. But if I just got arraigned, I didn't need to get indicted. So when they came to court, the witness didn't come. They was like, yo, we gotta just let you go. So they let me go. But I still was going to court because they were trying to persuade the witness to come, get in contact with the witness, this and that, but the witness never came to court. So that was my first time on that island. Second time on that island, probably like maybe like 6 months later. And this time I get caught with a hammer, fully loaded 38 special, hollow bullets, you name it. I mean, it was in there. You know what I mean? Like, I was grinding, man. I was in the hood, man. You know what I'm saying? So they caught me. So this time I guess indicted because at this time, New York City, man, this is 92, 93. New York City is wild, man. Like, yo, like bodies are dropping. Like I remember back in 92, there was like over 2,000 homicides in 1 year in New York City. Like it was
Which
off
is
the hook.
crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. So they was what they was doing was when you get caught with a hammer, they'll charge you for the hammer, and then for every bullet you got in there, that was like an extra year. So luckily I had a revolver. So I'm like, shit, but that's 5, and then the 3, that's 8 years. Lucky I didn't have a semi-automatic with like 20 something shots. I would have been screwed.
That's crazy though. The
You know what
time
I mean?
is nuts.
Yeah, so it was, but they had to stop the violence. Like it was crazy like that. You know what I mean? So I get indicted. So this time I go to the Sprungs. So the Sprungs is like an outside camp of the building. It's still Rikers Island, but it's like they in like tents and stuff like that. It look like an army type of style thing. I forgot. It probably held like 60 people, maybe. I can't remember off the top. But so somebody took my sneakers. So when I think I went to get something and I came back and my sneakers was gone. So I goes in the bathroom, right? So I see this little Spanish dude. So, I'm like, yo, man, you fucking took my sneakers? He like, yo, what? Like, he didn't have nothing to do with it. I just thought he did. So me and him squared up, man. That nigga rocked me. Little short motherfucker, beat the shit out of me, right? So, he had me in a stall, nigga. He had the box. Like, there was no way, the way he was hitting me, like, there was no way, man. Or maybe I just couldn't fight. I mean, I don't know. So after that, I come back to my bunk. I'm still pissed because I don't have my sneakers back yet. So I'm mad. So there's this dude that's like a few beds down. He looking like, the fuck you looking at? Because at this point, I'm pissed off. I'm embarrassed. This nigga whipped my ass in the bathroom. Like I feel some type of way now. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I guess because the dude whipped my ass, he felt like, he could do the same thing also. So I'm not gonna let 2 niggas in a half an hour whip my ass. I'll take 1 ass whipping. I won't take 2. You can forget that.
The
So I said,
second one's to the death.
right, exactly. Like F that, you know what I'm saying? So he gets up, and I don't know why it came across my mind, but I literally took off my belt and I wrapped, not the buckle part, I wrapped like, the other end of the belt, and I just started hitting him with the belt buckle. Boom, boom. So that created a scene. Police came and shit like that. They were like, yo, you ain't been in here like 3 hours, and you already been into 2 scuffles, this and that. So they packed me up, sent me to the other springs. I still didn't get my sneakers back, but it is what it is, though. You know what I mean? But at that point, I was in the law library because I still had an open drug case that I caught in between them 6 months from the robbery to the gun. I had caught like a drug case that I got out of. So I was still fighting that. So I had that and I had the gun charge. So I'm in the law library, I'm looking up at this time like 17. I'm like, damn, man, like they're talking like 5 to 15. I'm like, yo, they gotta be something. I'm wild young, man. Like I got no fun. I never even had probation yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, they gotta be able to give me something, man. So I had found this program called Cases, and cases help like youth like get out of prison. They help them get a job, get their GED. So I actually qualified for it. So I was like, hell yeah. So I was in like about a month and a half on the island, came out. So the stipulations is that I have to finish the program, do the drug counseling thing, find a job, and then if I complete the program and do all of those, I get probation. So I started working. I wasn't playing the streets too tough no more. But until one day, man, I'll never forget, man, like we was drinking Cisco. So I don't know if y'all know what Cisco is. Cisco, what we sell in New York, or we used to call that liquid crack. It's like MD, like Mad Dog 2020, or like it's like Four Locals. But this was like, it was lethal back in the day, like it was killing people. But this shit was sweet. So we used to drink like bottles of that shit. So we drunk and shit. So I ain't hustling. You know what I mean? I gotta wait Friday for my check. So we was around. So one of the dudes that was with was like, yo, fam, I got the hammer. I just start robbing niggas. I'm like, fuck it. Like, I mean, I'm like, yo, fuck it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm young. I'm not thinking, you know what I'm saying? So, at this time, the Bronx, we used to like to rob a lot of cab drivers. Because during this time, all them cab drivers used to carry nothing but cash. This is before Uber. Like, they used to have like a stack on them. You know what I mean?
Totally different time.
Yeah, and some of them used to be like transporting, like on the low type shit, for dudes. So, so we hit 2 cabs up, right? And then we hit a dude that was walking up. So, we still greedy though. Like, you know what I mean? Like we still greedy because we drunk. We're not thinking clear. So the fourth dude, we had like the whole setup and everything. I told my man, yo, get the cab at such and such place and tell me to drop you off at where we're gonna be at. I'm gonna be waiting in the lurks, until the cab pull up, and then I'll run up on the side, telling him to give up everything. So, mind you, I'm 17, I'm like 6'1", like 160 pounds soaking wet. So I runs up the side of the car. So I pulls out the hammer and I put the hammer like, yo, freeze it. I'm not free. I'm like, yo, give me all the shit. Like, fuck that. Give me all this shit right now. So I'm like trying to grab him and shit. So he's a man. He's a bigger man. So he's grabbed the hammer and he starts tussling it with me. So meanwhile, my co-defendant, dumbass, he's in the back. Like, you should have choked him up. You should have did something, my man. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he's trying to grab it. So I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna let this nigga take this gun and shoot me. I'm just gonna squeeze her. So I squeeze her tight. So I shot him once in the leg, upper thigh, and I shot him once in the waist. So he kind of like, you heard him like kind of like slump down, look like, ah. So he like drove a little bit. You could tell it was hard for him to drive. Meanwhile, my co-defendant is still in the back seat. He didn't even get out the cab yet, right? So he drives. I don't know how he made it. Nigga drives him to the precinct. Mind you, my co-defendant didn't have to say he know me. Like, even if the dude knew my description, you don't have to say, yeah, I knew him. Like, you didn't have to do none of that. He still did it anyway. You know what I'm saying? So they came to my mom's crib, busting down the door, looking for me, because I was armed and dangerous. Because, anytime you do anything with a weapon, they automatically think if they don't have the weapon, they think you armed and dangerous automatically. So they coming in, the SWAT team, all this crap, going to my girlfriend's house, which I'm 17, we're not even married. How do they know to go to my girlfriend's house? Like we're not even on record of dating. Yeah, right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I was working at that time, so I was on the run. So the money, the bread that we had got, I was on the run. Yo, it's expensive to be on the run, man. Like you ain't like a millionaire. To, you ain't gonna last long, man, unless you're gonna be doing more jixes or whatever the case may be. So money was getting low. So I'm like, yo, fuck it. I'm gonna try to pick up my check from my job and I'm gonna take the next bus and I'm going to wherever. Even if it was to Canada, it wouldn't even matter at that point. You know what I mean? So I goes to my job and fucking police, the D's was waiting in there for me. So they was in there like undercovers. I didn't even know. So I get up in there and I go to my manager. And I guess my manager must have given him some type of signal that it was me. So when he did that, he walked off. Them niggas tried to grab me, so I tried to run. And when I tried to run, it was like it was like a movie shit, like the potato chip shit was right there. They threw me into that shit. The fucking shit falls on me. I'm trying to get out of there and stuff like that. So eventually, four of them got me on the floor, handcuffed me, threw me in the cop car, beat the shit out of me, obviously. Back in them days, they did beat the shit out of us, man. Police straight up. You know what I
Every
mean?
time I got arrested, except for the last couple times, I got beat up.
Mm-hmm.
If you run, you're getting beat up.
Yep. So now this time, now we talking about a shooting now during a robbery. I ain't coming home anytime soon. Bill is set at like 100 and something thousand. Like at this point, like now it's like I'm looking at heavy time. So just offer me an 8 1/3 of 25 because the dude is in the wheel. He was in a wheelchair. He offered me like a 3 to 9 for the hammer. The drugs, they wasn't really like it was just a lingering case. You know what I mean? Like they wasn't concerned about the drugs. They wanted me for that shooting case. And that's what they was pinpointing.
The
So they
drugs was the plea chip.
right, exactly. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I'm fighting this shit for like about a year, 13 months. So mine's just like the middle 90s fighting it. And so I fired this one lawyer I had because it wasn't like, yo, I'm 17 years old. Like, yo, they talking wild time. They talking about if they're going to take me to trial for each case separately. If I book trial to two, that third one, you're like a 3 strike loser. Like, you looking at football numbers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, yo, you're not even trying. Like, so I fired him. It was like I had a pay lawyer, so they sent me another state AB lawyer. But at least this one, I guess he must have had a heart or something. Be like, yo, look, man, the only good thing that was on your side is that you were 17 years old. I'm gonna see what I can do for you. I'm like, all right, cool. So this is right before pre-trial hearings. They always offer you something at pre-trial hearings to see what you want to do. So they offered me a 4 to 12. So a 3 to 9 for the attempt murder, which gets broken down into attempt robbery one with a deadly weapon. The gun charge was going to be a 1 to 3, and the drug thing was like it was just going to be like I forgot what they like a conditionary discharge. I forgot what they called it. It was somewhere in the realms. They just wanted the 2 violent crimes. That's what they wanted. So they gave me a 4 to 12 concurrent. So 17. Well, at that time I was 18 when I got it. And at this time, but I also was thinking about, New York was giving out work release to violent offenders during the 90s. So I actually, when I got sentenced and everything, I got sentenced. Obviously I had a few Rikers Island with a few Lyte Kings. Like I got cut in there. I got jumped by like 50 to 60 Lyte Kings. Like we had like it was like I don't mean to kind of get off topic because I don't want to go too far past Rikers Island because I was about to go up north. So during the time on the island, like I said, the gang was there. This is 94, 95. You know what I mean? Like it's starting to regulate now. So they sent me to a Latin King house. So mind you, I'm half Spanish and half black. So I don't know how to speak Spanish. So I always drifted to the brothers just because I felt comfortable. Because if I was around any Spanish people that talk Spanish to me and I look at them like, huh? Like I'll just catch like 1 or 2 words. So I always felt uncomfortable. I felt like a fake Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? So always with the brothers. So mind you, so we're in the Latin King house. So mind you, there's 50 people in the dorm. There was only 6 brothers. The rest was Latin Kings, Nietas, and La Familias. point blank.
Bad numbers.
Bad numbers, man. And so one of the fellas one of the bros that we was cool with, he was producing, going on the floor, getting what he do, coming back. And he came back and he used to tell me how he used to get 3 of them things up there. I'm like, oh man. So he come back and he like, yo, only got 2 sticks. I'm like, 2 sticks? I'm like, what? Like, hold on, fam. Yo, somebody storing you? So I see them, they called them in the bathroom. I seen how the whole thing, they made them, shit it out. You know what I mean? I seen the whole thing go down. I'm like, yo, listen, yo, fuck that. Yo, next time, don't give them shit. You know what I mean? Fuck that. We gonna ride with you. Like all the 6 of us, like, yo, fuck it, we just gonna go out. That's just how it was. Cause they were trying to give us no full time. Like they were straight up trying to disrespect us. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least let me, like, come on, dude. Like, really 6 minutes? What the fuck am I supposed to do with 6 minutes? You know what I'm saying? But I just played my position because obviously I'm outnumbered. I don't have no gap. You know what I mean? A lot of my homeboys from the streets is not in there. So, you gotta be smarter. You gotta move, smart. I ain't no freaking Superman. You know what I mean? Like 44 of them. Like, really? You know what I'm saying? So he went to the floor, he came back, and they came to him, and he was like, yo, I ain't got nothing. They're like, what you mean? You always get something when you come down. Yeah. So they was like, niggas stood up like, nah, fuck that. He ain't got nothing for y'all. It's like your words. So you see them started forming up. Yo, they started forming up, mind you. So they got us like, we on the wall. So they formed us and stood off on homebreak. So then we just started dumping. So I don't know, somehow I got drifted to like the bathroom area, fighting like 10 dudes. These niggas is beating me up, but they stomping me out. I'm getting up, yo. I'm trying to get out of the area. So mind you, so the police was also, the SEALs was also gang affiliated. So there was 2 sides to this module. One side was for adolescents, one side was for adults. The adults never supposed to mix in with the adolescents at any time. You're only supposed to see them in the corridor. That's it. No yard, no nothing with them. You understand what I'm saying? So the police opened up the other side with the adults, and they was gang affiliated too. So they came in. So mind you, it's like 6 of us against like 80 of them. Yo, they was throwing them big ass day room tables on me. Yo, they fucked me up. Like the only thing that saved me from getting cut on my face, because I was on the floor. Yo, they was just destroying me. Like there was nothing I can do. I don't care what nobody say. You know what I'm saying? When you got that many people, there's that many people on you. I don't care who you are.
You're lucky if you live.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Yo, so the only thing I seen, y'all was dizzy. I was probably concussed. I don't even know. I was dizzy. Only thing I see, he grabbed me by my head. And I seen the raise, and he was trying to like really like dig in my face. And when he went, I kind of blocked it with my hand right there. So when he cut this shit, I don't know, I guess the squad head came in and shit like that. Yo, when they took me on the stretcher, and when I finally woke up in the corridor, yo, my whole hand right here, you was able to see all my knuckles. Yo, they cut me so deep, you was able to see my knuckles on my hand. You know what I'm saying? So yo, that shit, y'all was in Bellevue for like we had to get surgery on my hand, right? And then when I came back, they sent me to 2 Upper where the brothers was at. So they kind of heard what was going on. So they didn't really fuck with me because they understood, you know what I mean, that what happened. You know what I'm saying? So I was just getting the therapy, getting my shit together. I said, yo, watch when I get my shit. It's the same hand I'm gonna use to knock these dudes out. Just like that. At that point, that's when the jailing clicked for me. It didn't click for me before until that happened. And once that was at that point, I said, fuck it. I said, fuck it. Whatever happens, happens at that point.
Yeah,
so
you gotta survive, right?
Yo, so sure enough, once I got my hand held, I went to a court date. And I said, the first dude I seen here with them beads on, I'm dropping them. Sure enough, they brought one up in there. He seen me when he came up in there, but it was telling the other boy his ass quarter. Boom! Yo, I hit him so hard, like the way the gate says is like points to the gate. So when I hit him, I cracked him. He like his head kind of got like stabbed into this point. Boom. So I went to the Bing and shit like that. And I had an instance of Bing. That was like my only cutting I ever had. Was dude tried to respect my mom's. You know what I'm saying? Like I asked him to So in the Bing, if people want to know, the Bing is where segregation at. That's for Rikers Island. So at this time, Bing is off the hook. Like a lot of the bloods is in Bing because them niggas they was putting in mad work on any type of Spanish cats, which they used to call them Germans. That's what they used to call the lad kings, and they call them Germans, which is crazy. It's a crazy term, but that's what they used to call them. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm in there, shit like that. So there's a guy that's like a suicide watch. He's the person that watches all the inmates to make sure they don't hang themselves. So he walks up and down the till, and he does other things too, like he feed us our food through the slots, because we in the Bing. So they open our slot, he feed us our trays. There was like a little phone outlet between two cells for the phone, where we got like our weekly phone call, but then sometime they'll come through like 3 in the morning and let us rock on the phone, later at night, if we rock like that, you know what I'm saying? So I asked him to do me a favor. And I told him, look, man, call my mom's, tell her the visiting is A to Z. A to Z is like everybody could come on Friday. I'm like, tell my mom's come on Friday, boom, 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 boom. Like, I got you, gave him a number. So he calls up, boom, he's like, y'all call your mom's, it's coming through. Cool. So I get into the visiting floor. So mind you, on Rikers Island, when you in the Bing, there's you're in like a plastic I don't know, like a hut, I guess you could call it, something like that. You literally end up like everybody's in the Bing is in these plastic huts by themselves with their family, while population is just regular at the table and shit like that. So my mom's with my sister and brother, they wild young. So she's telling me, she's like, yo, who that dude that you had call me? So I'm like, who, fam? I'm like, that's my dude. She was like, well, that's your dude, huh? She was like, well, he was asking me what color panties I had on when he was on the phone with me. And I'm like, yo, what? Are you fucking serious? Like, yo, like, dude, like, that's not what, you know what I'm saying? If you wanted to join, I could have probably plugged you into something. That's my mom's, nigga. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, nigga? Like, and then you being disrespectful, nigga. Like, what the fuck is wrong? So I guess off the visitor floor, I tell one of my mans in the cell. So, I ain't had my hands on a razor up until this time. So I told him the situation. He like, I got you. So what he did was he put a razor. So we had a bunch of magazines, Source magazines, what the other ones were, Don Divas, I think it was, something like that. So it was a bunch of magazines, and he gave it to the suicide, right? The suicide didn't know that he put a razor inside the top magazine. So when he's bringing me the magazines, I already know it's on the top magazine. So when I grab the magazines, I drop all of them except for the top one. So I pulls it in my flap while he's picking the magazines. I take the razor out and I just grab him because my flap is open at this time. So I just grab him, cut him right there. So he jumped back, he fell and shit like that. He was like, "Yo, 3 cell cut me." So by that time,
just like that, screaming like that,
just like that, screaming like that. So I already know what time it is. So I already flushed my razor down the toilet before they even got a chance to turn it. So I did it, and I just flushed my joint immediately down that toilet because I already know once they do that, they turn off your water, and then you screw. So I already knew what time it was. So they came in. Actually, I'm lying. They cracked my cell, and they told me, "Oh, come down, such and such inmate." I said, "Man, I ain't coming down shit," and closed my gate back. So I already knew they was coming. You heard the keys. You heard them round up about 4 of them. So you hear them coming to my cell. Distraction. So I'm like, I'm in the back. I already know what time. I'd rather be with my back on the wall. So at least I'm not getting snuffed. At least I can know what to expect initially. I mean, after that, they probably still gonna do me dirty. But at least that, you never want to get caught off guard. You know what I'm saying? Especially from the COs, because they're gonna fuck you up. You want to be able to roll with the punches. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So so they came in there, started whipping my ass, dragged me down the chair. Dude's image kicking the gate. Let me the fuck go. Let me the fuck go. Yeah, they took me to the vestibule area. Yo, they beating the shit out of me with their metal batons. Yo, they doing me dirty while the nigga that I cut was at the other side of the bubble like this. Yeah, like cheering the COs on to whip my ass. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about they didn't have the razor, so they couldn't charge me. Only thing they say, well, like I probably punched them, and because that's what I said. I said, well, I punched him, and that's how you got cut. I don't know how he got cut. I just know I punched him, and he started bleeding. You know what I mean? So But they knew that they beat the shit out of me. Like they threw me in my cell. I ain't see the nurse for like 2 or 3 days. Like I was fucked up, man. Like my ribs was cracked. Like they really did me dirty. And they knew that because the only way they stopped because another woman CEO was coming by and she heard them whipping my ass. She's like, "Yo, what are y'all doing?" So there was a witness. So they let me go with bing time over my head. So now my man pulls me into Mar 2. And after that point, that's when my bid on Rikers Island started to, you know,
Chill out.
yeah, chill. Like I had like 2 more fights, but it wasn't like the war. Like it was just scuffles. You know what I'm saying?
So so let me ask you, like, if you're just like a regular dude, right, and you just get caught doing some dumb shit, maybe you're like, you're fighting or something, whatever, and you end up in Rikers, is it possible to do your own time?
It's possible. I'm not saying it can't be done. I've very rarely seen it back when I was locked up, just because the dynamics was different. Like it was free phones. Now you got to pay for that phone out your own account. So it's like they don't sell cigarettes in them no more. So it's a little different now. You know what I mean? And now the gangs are more solidified. So you can't just go and just cut another inmate like that because you don't know who you cutting. You might start a straight up war. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I
So
think. Hmm?
sorry, it sounds like the politics are similar to if you were doing time in Toronto, just on a much bigger scale because of how many people there are. Like our Toronto detention center, the South,
Hmm.
has 2,500 guys,
Hmm.
and it's violent, but it doesn't sound like it would be like Rikers. So let me ask you this: I know you went to different jails. We'll get it. I think I'm gonna have to bring you on for a part two just because it's been so long. But
Yeah, that's cool.
I know you've now like totally changed uh, what you do and how you think, and you've created this movement. What was it exactly that changed you from that life, made you think, you know what, this is not the life for me, and want to do better?
Um, I think when I got hit at the board, which sounds kind of a little crazy, but because I thought I was gonna go home, 4 years, even though, we'll get into that, but I ended up in the max and stuff like that. But I still thought that I was going home. You know what I mean? So when that happened, like that crushed me. You know what I mean? And to be honest, growing up, I wasn't a bad kid. I was a product of my environment. So like I was good all the way until I was like 12 years old. Like I was a good student, a good kid. Like I wasn't getting into no trouble, not like that. You know what I mean? Until I got jumped by 30 people. Once I got jumped by 30 people, that was the click right there. And after that, that's when I became a product of my environment. But even before I caught my bid, I was on the cups of changing. I just did one night destroyed that. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was easier for me to transition because I was kind of in that state of mind already. But now I understand that I'm in jail now. So I got to kind of, do with the whole jail politics, but understand that this is not going to be my life. You know what I mean? Like a lot of my homies, you know what I'm saying?
100%. And like for me, I did three pen bits, almost 17 years, and I just got to a point where I felt like I didn't belong anymore. But I kept getting caught up because it was hard for me to change the patterns in the street and to not feel like some weird loyalty to people that weren't really my friends. And like, what do you think was the most important thing that you changed that really got you away from that life? Would you also say it was association, the kind of people you have around you?
Oh yeah, it's definitely the old terminology, people, places, and things. Like, people obviously would bring you around. So even when I came home, right? Because I did 6 years, right? That was enough for me. I wasn't really
It's a long,
trying to.
it's a long time.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to commit no more crime. You know what I mean? Period. You know, I might do like bullshit, like I might smoke weed or I might drink like a open container of liquor outside, but nothing like I'm trying to harm somebody. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? Let me take a step back. You know what really changed me? Now I'm kind of, thinking about it now. When I actually was in a parole board, right? So as they telling me, my crimes and stuff like that, right? They asked me, oh, what you felt like you did different, you felt like you changed, the whole thing, I regrets this and that, I did the whole trade thing, I got my GED, I was tutoring people in school, the whole works. So they was like, hold on, we got something for you, right? So they literally opened up a letter, right? And the letter was from the victim's daughter, and they reading the letter in the parole board hearing, and they saying, well, there's somebody else who might think's different, and they started reading about how she can't play with her dad no more, because he can't, get up out the chair no more, like she can only sit like this whole, like, I mean, like, the shit was deep because, then I started thinking about, how about if I had a child and somebody do that to me, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, how would my child feel? You know what I'm saying? Even though I didn't have no children yet, but I was taking care of my younger brother and younger sister. They was like my children, because my mom was a single mom, so I was helping her out. So, changing their diapers, like, so I understood that, like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that was started to change me. You know what I'm saying? Kind of. Yeah, I would say that. You know what I mean? But as far as like in the street, I definitely I had it lucky, man. I was blessed. So like when I came home from 6 days, I mean, and after 6 days of being home, I actually had a job. So, that's the, like, I think that's just the number one most important thing. Like, you have to work. Like, it just kind of keeps you straight away from them people, places, and things. But now I don't have time to hang around people. I don't have time to do them things. You know what I mean? And like, I shouldn't be hanging out on street corners because I'm not hustling. There is, I can talk to you for a brief second. We can talk for like 10 or 15 minutes, right? But I'm not going to pull up a crate like you hustling. Like, I'm not hustling. Like, I'm a civilian. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I got nothing to do with that. And, like, just, doing stuff like that, and just caring for like my children, man. Like, like my kids play a big part of me changing too. Even when I came home, I wasn't committing crime, but I was getting into a lot of confrontations just because I was still adapting to society. I didn't understand how can people be so disrespectful. Like, you don't understand what respect is. Like, get killed for stuff like that up north. You know what I mean? So it took me time to adjust. And also people I was hanging out with, we're drinking shit like that, and they know how I am. They know that I'm a pop off. You know what I'm saying? And then I think for me in the street is when I got stabbed. That's when everything changed for me, because the whole stabbing incident was with somebody else that I shouldn't had been a part of. But I put myself in that place. You know what I'm saying? And I think when I was sitting in that bed and people was crying for me and shit, and my wife and my son, and my best friend Tremaine died like that. And so people, that's the first thing, like, because my name is Jermaine, his name is Tremaine. So, we always related to that's the first thing, that's how Tremaine died. Tremaine can't die like that. And I got stabbed in the chest and everything, just like how he did. You know what I'm saying? But I was lucky and blessed to, be able to be alive. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I always say that I think that the prison population is the most traumatized part of society. I saw somebody say this, and it just rang clear for me. If you think about it, like, I guarantee you, if you go through that population, there was misdiagnosed mental health or trauma that wasn't worked on, and it just snowballed, 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 and then stigma gets in the way, and it just becomes an impossible situation. So obviously we share our stories with you guys so you guys don't have to go through these things. If we snap our fingers, nobody goes back to prison, nobody deals with trauma, nobody deals with addiction, anything like that. That's what we do. But in 2021, that's just not a reality. The world's kind of going crazy a little bit, and sometimes you got to do what you got to do. and I'm not here to judge you. Hopefully these videos will help. I just think that a lot of the time, if people just cared a little more, you know, if the people that are voted into political jobs or political parties and positions at this board and with corrections, if the people that were hired actually just even just a little bit cared, I think it would be a huge uh, uh, deal breaker. But I just don't see that happening with the current landscape of the way things are set up. So let me ask you one last question. I'm going to bring you on for a number 2 for sure, because you got more story. I know you do. So what do you think can be done to kind of help people in that situation? What do you think would be the best thing to kind of combat it? Because, you know, it may seem like an impossible obstacle to some people, but I personally don't think it would be that difficult to cut it back. What do you think, though?
So I'll give you an example. So when I was up north, right, I took floor covering. So floor covering consists of me putting down carpet and tile and stuff like that, right? I think what they need to do is people that complete them type of trades, I think they should connect them directly to an employer. Just because for the fact, if somebody do 20 years in prison, do you really think they're gonna pass an interview? Like, do you think they know how to fill out an application? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got to be realistic.
They got to be taught.
Yeah, they got to be taught that. Like, they're not teaching that behind the wall. Some of these people, like myself, I went to jail at 17. Luckily, I had a job before when then. But a lot of kids, when they 16, they never had no damn job. They was hustlers or stick-up kids. So they don't know. So if they're doing a 15-year stretch, how did you expect them to be productive? You know, like how? You know what I'm saying? So I think if you're teaching them this trade, just like if you take your trade here in the streets, right? They're supposed to plug you into a job. So why the hell are we taking a trade in there, but we can't get plugged in with a job? That doesn't make any sense. If that's what we really using the taxpayer money for. You know what I'm saying?
They're lining their pockets.
Yeah, they're lining like I did my trade early in my bed. So by the time I came home, it ain't like they had a job in there for me to work on my skills. So when I came home, it's like shit. Like I don't have time to be I gotta find something, something. Like I don't care what it is. You know, like I said, and I was lucky to have a neighbor in my building to plug me in with a job. But other than that, God forbid, I don't know where I would be right now. I don't know if I'd be talking to you on this phone if I didn't have that person that gave me that job within 6 days. Because once you got too much idle time, just coming home doing a stretch, because that's a lot of dudes when they did like 10 years, I don't give a fuck. I'll do 10 more years. I'll max out. I don't care. You know what I mean? And that's for anybody that did a stretch in there, because that's the first thing that popped in your mind. That's that comfort zone. Fuck it. I can't deal with this world. I'll go back in there and do 10 more years. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel like if everybody who maybe has an opportunity, maybe knows somebody who has an opportunity, just reached out and just helped somebody. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody involved in criminal activity. It could be somebody who's dealing with mental health. It could be somebody who's dealing with addiction. At the end of the day, if you want the streets safer, the way to do that is to create opportunity so people don't feel the need to have to do bad stuff. And I feel like that's purposely missed. If you guys could please hit that like button, subscribe button, and bell notification buttons, you get all my videos when they're new. You can share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word. That would be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link is in the description of all of my videos. So, Matt, I appreciate you. I'm going to bring you on soon, though. I'm not going to wait too long. I'll bring you on within like maybe the next week if you're not busy. I just feel like trying to have somebody listen to such a long interviews, it will hurt your story, and I don't want to do that because I feel like it's super interesting. But if you have like any last words, you know, you want to shout out your channel, you want to shout out your Instagram, you want to shout anybody out, go ahead. And if you leave a comment, I'll pin the comment under the interview after I put it up, and you can kind of link some stuff. All right.
All right, cool. Yeah, so you know, like I said, it's my social media is Lyte on the Hill. So that's LYTE underscore on underscore the underscore hill. I'm also a co-host of If They Only Knew. So if you type in ITOK in capital letters, so ITOK, our channel will come up. We also have some merch. We just kind of be going through stages, coming out with something new. So stay tuned with that. And listen, we definitely want stories too, man. You know what I mean? Because somebody got to teach somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my motto is, man, just don't never give up, man. Like I was a manager for 15 years at Starbucks, and if I can do that, so can you.
That's what I'm saying. You got to start somewhere. You know, you can't walk in being like, yo, I want 25 an hour. Blah, blah. Like, you got to start somewhere. You got to show your value. And I feel like
listen,
a lot of people think they got value just automatically.
Man, in New York, they paying them $15 an hour. You know, when I came home, I was getting paid an hour. I was getting paid $6.75 an hour,
which is crazy.
I was working 40 hours, bringing home $180 check, man. So there's opportunity. Like when I went in, there wasn't all these Starbucks and all these places, man. Maybe with the whole Corona thing, obviously, with all that's going on. But once things open back up, man, there's jobs for everybody, man. Trust me, man.
That's what I'm saying. And don't be scared for a little hard work. That's what it takes. Sometimes you got to break your back a little bit until you show your value. This is the thing. You start feeling good about yourself. And once you start feeling good about yourself, your value goes up and up and up. And then you can demand more money. I don't know, for me, my situation's a little similar. I got a job fairly quickly from a guy who gave me an opportunity from a program. And I just ran with it. You got to run with it, Anyways, man, I appreciate you, and I'll shout you out in a few days.
Definitely, man.
We can. This will probably be up. Tomorrow. I would say.
All right, cool.
All right, Mike.
I'm really on the lookout for it, man.
I'll shoot you a message when I put it up. And man, your stories. I wanted to keep you going, but at the same time. I want your story to get heard.
I understand. I'm in the same thing. When it's too long, you kind of lose. You lose it. It's bad enough people got short, time. Like they only look at things for like 10 minutes anyway. So.
All right, man. I appreciate you though.
No problem, man. I appreciate you, man.
Okay, brother.
Peace, man.